Guys, and welcome to a new GTK tutorial. In the last video we saw about relationship between the child and the container, and in that case was the relationship between the GTK Grid and the GTK Button. So basically the grid was used as the parent and the container as well, and the button, or those two buttons, they were used as child for our container. And then after we attach those two buttons to our grid, we saw that we can set their child properties, so better say the grid child properties, with the GTK Container Child Set. Anyway, GTK Container, it belongs to GTK Container and not to GTK Grid, but you saw how it's working, and that was it. And it looks like this, where we pushed after we set the GTK container, after we call the GTK container set function. Basically we said left attach 1 and top attach 1. As you can see now on the button 2, which is right here, we pushed from the left 1 to the right, and from the top we pushed 1 to the button. Basically this is what left attach and top attach means. Width and height, you should already know what means, the size which takes. Anyway, we're not going to talk now because you should already know. If not, then just go back to GTK Grid playlist and watch all those videos. Okay, so that being said, we are done with it. Now we are going to move to the next one. I'm going to close the project because I already prepared one here. It is the GTK header bar. Like I told in the last video, before we talk about this, I'm going to run it. As you can see, I create here a program which uses a header bar, has no decoration, has two buttons, the open and the close button, and it has a title in the middle, nothing special. Okay, so I'm going to close the program for a second. Now we are going to see the program flow. We have a window, we have a grid which I put it inside the window. I have a header bar which I put inside the grid, and I also have a button 1 and button 2. Both of those button 1 and button 2, I put them inside the header bar. Why? Well, because the GTK header bar, let me go back. GTK header bar, it is also container. There is from GTK container right here, object hierarchy, you see. So this means you can have more than one child on this container. Anyway, the important thing of this part is that GTK header bar has also, together with its properties, has also child properties, which they are two. This time are different from the last video. In the last video we saw how we can how we can deal with the relationship between the grid and its child, where we set the position from left to and top and so on, and the size which occupies those children. But in this case of the header bar, we have two different child properties, two different relationships. And the first one is the pack type, the way how the child it is packed, and the position of the child, where it should be at the point when you create it. So what this means, let me go back a little bit. Let me talk about the flow again. So we have the window, we set it's decorated to false, and then we create a grid. I set it's homogeneous to true so that it is expands. Basically this call is only there so that I can when I'm going to maximize the window, like doing right now, you see it expands on the horizontal, nothing special. Okay, so and then next we added our grid inside our window, and then we were creating two buttons. The first button is open, the second one was closed. I connected the click and signal to the button 2 so that I can close the window, because I set the decoration to false, so I have to have a better control of closing the window. And then we created our header bar, and we put a title inside of it, which is the header bar. And after that we start packing. What this means, we're not going to talk right now because you should already know. If not, go back to GTK header bar playlist and follow those videos. But as you can see, one thing is important for you to know. Let me compile it and run it, and that is that I said the first one. Let me drop it. Okay, now, so I said button 1 should be packed to start, which in our case is the open button, this one right here. So start means on the left, and the second button I said it should be packed to the end, so basically on the right. Start and end means putting these two, in this case these two buttons, one on the left side and one on the right side of the title. Okay. And then I use GTK Grid attach, where I put the header bar inside the grid. This is the same thing. Like it is really not important if I use grid attach. I already know GTK container add GTK container grid and header bar. It is not important the way you pack it in this case. I can just pack it with GTK container add, because grid itself is a container. It will look the same. Anyway, I'm going to remove it and let it the way it was. Now, what's the story with the child properties, which the header bar widget use them? So let me go back. As you can see, we have two of them. We have the pack type and we have the position. Now, about the pack type, we already know. Pack type means this one. We decide to use it to start and to end. Now we can set those child properties through GTK Containers Child Set. And I'm going to say right here also, I don't know, attaching, whatever. Okay, so GTK container set, GTK container set, GTK container child set. Okay, so the first one, as you already know, is GTK container. It is the parent. In this case, it's a header bar, because this one is the parent. The second is the child, button 1, and then we need let me copy it. We need the first property, and we are going to say, as you can see, we have pack start and pack end. I'm going to copy it, those two values. GTK pack type, we already have the enumeration right here if you are interested about them. There are two. Pack start, the child is packed into the start of the box, and the pack end means the child is packed into the end of the box. Okay, now I'm going to copy it and paste it right here. And after we're done, of course, like you already know, we need to inform the function that we are done with it, so we are going to pass null. Now, what this means, when I'm going to compile it and run it now, you will see no difference. But if I decide to use pack end, let me comment this part right here. So I'm going to use pack end right now, just to show you something. You see, both of them are on the right side, and not just they are on the right side, the open button stays the first one, which is on the right side. Why? Because we set to be the first one right here. If I'm swapping them, button 1 with button 2, you will see that the close button is the last one. You see, the close button is okay. Now let me put it back, and now that we have pack end both, if I comment out the call of GTK container set, you will see that the button 1 goes back to its first place, even if we set it with the pack end. You see, open and close. So basically this is the way how it's working, these things right now, and this is the way how you set the pack type. Now the next thing which I want to show you, it is of course, if I'm now copying and set the back button to pack type also to start, and I'm going to compile it, then you will notice that both of them are on the right side. You see, they are not between the header bar title is not anymore between those two buttons. Of course, it's not, because I choose both of them to be at the pack start. If I move the button to the end, like I'm doing right now, right here, then jumps back to its place. You see, now we have them the way we want it. Now, what's the story with the GTK with the position property? The position property, it is somehow like this. I'm going to copy the whole this call right here because it's too much information. I'm going to change only the pack type with the position, and once that we have it, it says here position default is 0. It should be always bigger than -1 and 0. So this means I'm going to use 0 for button 1 and 0 for button 2, just that I want to show you something before we can move. You see, there is no change anymore, and this is because of the packing. I need to pack them both at the same side. So I'm going to pack the button 1 and button 2 at the start, so that you understand the difference better. And now you will see something interesting. Now you have close button being the first one and the open being the second one. And why is that happening? Well, the button 1 has the position, the button 1 is open, and we set it at the beginning. Both of them we set to go to the end, and then we changed their place. So we said put the button 1 to the start position, which is open, and then we said put the button 2 also to the start position, and this one took place over this one, and at this point the close button took the place from the of the open one. This means if I'm now switching again these two right here, you will see the difference. So you really need to pay attention when you pack these things. Now we have the open, the first one, and the close, the first one, and the open, the second one. So okay, I change it back to 1 and 2. Close, open. Now watch. Now I can decide which one really has this position. This position decides now the button 2 because it's set to 0. This means if I set it now to 1, makes no difference. It will be its position to 1. If I set this one to 1 and this one to 0, it will set its position different. You see, close and open. So what this means, again, let me talk about this thing again. Pack type means put them in front of the title, both of them to the start, and then which one you call it last one, it will be the first used. Let me show you. We said put the button 1 at the start position, put the button 2 at the start position. Button 1 is open, button 2 is closed. So it should be open and close. But after you call and you decide to set the position of those widgets, after you pack them, you can decide which one actually is the first one and which one actually is the second one. So may I said button 1 should be at the position 1 and button 2 should be at the position 0, which means the button 2 now takes the position 1 and button 1 goes to position 2. So in this case we'll not have open and close, we'll have close and open. It is a little bit complicated, but just play with them a little bit. You see close and open, and after you play them with them you will understand them better. But this is not an object of our discussion. I wanted to explain just a little bit about the situation which is involved here, even if we are talking only about the child property and not the way how it's working with the packing story and so on. That being said, thank you guys for watching. If you like it, please subscribe, share with your friends and neighbors, and until next time, see you guys.